Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel today. My name is Christian and today we are here to talk about the new record from Young Guns. It is titled Echoes, and I've never been a massive fan of Young Guns. The only thing I've really liked from them was their single Bones that was on the last record. I thought that song was really strong. A massive chorus, and I thought it was the most visceral I'd heard that vocalist sing. And so going into this record, I really had zero expectations. I was expecting just another bland record like I felt the last one was. As always, you're free to disagree with me. Opinions are opinions, but I thought the last one's just fell flat for me. It was just pretty generic. I'd say generic a lot, but it just felt generic and lacked a lot of emotion and meaning. And so I went into this record with no expectations. My expectations were right down on the floor. And this record exceeded my expectations, but just by a little bit. It's an okay record. It's not anything spectacular. It's not going to be in my top 40 of the year, let alone the top 20. But it's an okay record with some really stellar highlights on it. So the thing about the record is it just suffers from a lack of variety and originality. Everything just sounds like I've heard it before in another song. There's nothing unique about it at all, and to put it pretty bluntly, it just feels like a Coldplay album with some heavy distorted guitars over the top, and sometimes there's not even that. Let's get into some of the tracks now. Bulletproof opens up the record great. It is such a good song, lots of groove, and the melody is just instantaneous. Just a great song. Echoes is the second track on the record. It's a really airy song in the verses and then goes into this massive chorus. I really like the interchange between those two things, being such a laid back verse and then going into this massive chorus. Really cool. So the record starts out really strong, and I was actually in shock about how strong it started, and then after that it just kind of stays at the one pace for the rest of the record and just kind of plays through. Another couple of great songs on this record would be Buried, which is a really good rock song. It's not anything particularly amazing, but it's got a really catchy chorus, and the instrumentation throughout some of this song is just really interesting and really grabbed my attention. And then finally, for tracks that really stand out, Afterglow, which is the final track on the record, is a great closer. It is so massive, got a great chorus, and the drum work throughout it is really cool, and I really enjoyed that song and was glad to hear another great song to finish out the record. Getting into some of the instrumentation throughout this record, the guitars do really well for the kind of music they're trying to play. They do their job really well. There could have been some more interesting things going on in certain sections of certain songs, but for the most part, the guitars do a solid job with what they're given, and the drums are the same. The drums are probably the most impressive thing on the record, but once again, they are stuck in this box of what this genre is, and the drummer does what he can within that context. There's some synthy elements going on throughout this record that are interesting, I guess, but they just kind of feel played out and uninteresting. I just said it was interesting, I guess, so I can't really say uninteresting, but yeah, it's just a bit played out. If you want an example of that, listen to Paranoid off the record. The vocals are really overly layered and produced. And sometimes even they're way too far back in the mix, so you can't even really hear what he's saying. The melodies for the most part are all right. There's some massive choruses, as I've said, in those 4 standout tracks, but for the most part, the vocals aren't anything too interesting, and some of that also comes down to the lyrics, which I just find very typical and predictable for this style of music. As well as that, his vocals really do, for the most part, have a lack of emotion and meaning. And that is, for the most part, there are certain songs, once again, in those 4 that I mentioned, where he does feel like he means what he's singing. But yeah, for most of this record, it just sounds very meaningless and just completely unemotional. Getting into some of the production now, the production is very clean. It could have been a bit more raw, a bit more dirty, just to add some grit and aggression to the record. It just feels like it's just too clean, and the guitar tone's way too clean. It needs to be a little bit heavier. And this record really highlights the difference between Young Guns and their peers, bands like You Meet Six and Twin Atlantic. It just shows there's a very distinct difference in quality between bands like You Meet Six and Twin Atlantic and Young Guns, who are further down. They're all trying to do this big arena rock sound, and the songwriting is just better in those bigger bands than it is in Young Guns, which is unfortunate for them. But I can see a lot of people loving this record. I can't wait to see the comments in the video because it's going to be hilarious. But overall, it's an okay record. Go check it out if you like that arena rock sound from bands like You Meet Six and Twin Atlantic. And if you like Young Guns, I can only imagine that you're going to love this record. My top 3 tracks are going to be Bulletproof, Echoes, and Afterglow. I'm going to give the record a 3 out of 5. Go check it out if you want to. You might find yourself really enjoying it. Thanks for watching my video today. Please hit subscribe down below, and I'm going to have a competition in the comments down below. Hit me with your biggest insult. The biggest insult gets nothing because you're a cunt. Anyway, thanks for watching my video today. Please hit subscribe down below, and I'll see you next time. Fresh Currents.